This is a short bite episode of Homeschool Together. Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. Thanks so much for joining us. Today we have a fun little game, a math game, the Math Dice Junior from Think Fun. Did you get this one for Christmas?
Yes, it
a
ended
holiday
up
one,
being
yeah.
a stocking stuffer. It's really affordable. The game's only $10, so and super travel friendly. It comes in a little bag, and it just consists of a little fabric scoring mat, a scoring track, 6 tokens for players, and 5 dice. So the way that the game works, it's got a 12-sided die, and then it has 3 dice that go from 1 to 3, and 3 normal 1 to 6 dice that are they're all 6-sided, but 3 of them only go 1 to 3. Yeah. Anyway, so you roll the 12-sided die, and then that's your target number. So let's say you rolled a 7, and you roll all the rest of the dice. What you're trying to do is come up with a combination of those 6-sided dice that will add or subtract to equal the target number. But the goal is for every, let's say I did a 4 and a 3 together. So 4 plus 3 equals 7. I would then get to score 2 levels on the scoring track. 2 spaces. But if I did something different, like let's say 9 minus 1 minus 1, I'd get to score 3 spaces because I used 3 dice.
So it incentivizes using more and more dice.
Right.
Can you go addition and subtraction in the same problem?
So it's addition and subtraction. And the cool thing, so the way that the game is supposed to be played is, and there's a couple variations, but the main way is that the first person to see an equation yells out math dice, and then they get to do whatever equation that is.
It's like a speed game.
A speed game. And then whatever remaining dice there are, the other players, if those combos, the remaining dice that weren't used, could be used to make it, they could call it out and they could use those.
Okay.
Obviously, we're playing with our daughter, so that doesn't work super great because, I can see the combinations, simple addition subtraction. That doesn't really work. So what we decided to do instead, if you have 2 kids playing together, I think it works fine. What we decided to do instead was just do it turn-based. So we roll, and she looks at it, and I say, do you see a combo? And she'll pick it out. And I said, great, is that the best combo you can make? And then she's thinking, and so all of a sudden she's processing all the different ways she could make this combo of adding and subtracting. So her turn takes quite a bit longer. And then she's like optimizing, and she's like, yeah, this is the best one I can do. Cool. And then she scores it. So it doesn't have that quick element, but she still really enjoys it from that standpoint. And then when I roll, the first thing I do is go, okay, there's a couple ways to go. And she's like, oh, mommy, I see a bunch of ways. So she's doing the mental math on her turn and my turn.
That's cool.
And she's not just, one of the things I think about quick games is like, that's really fun. And if you had other kids to play with, like if a good little friend of hers came over, they could play together and they could play the traditional speed version. But if you're playing with an adult, especially the speed version, they're just going to, whatever the first thing they see is what they're going to call out.
Yeah, you want to give them a little bit of time to process and let the brain churn.
Right.
A little,
So this way they get to see all the different things, and she gets really excited when she wins. And there's a short track on the scoring, and then there's a longer track depending on how long you want the game to be.
Cool.
The short track would be a very short game. I don't know why we'd want to play the shortest track. It's only like
6 squares and then
10 squares maybe.
Yeah, and then the full one's like 12 or 15 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The short track would just be very short. So, but I think this is great. There is a normal math dice. This is the junior version. So this would be appropriate for any child. You could just do addition to start before your child learns subtraction. You can add in subtraction when you're ready. So I think any child, 5 to 7.
Yeah, who can recognize numbers and can do basic addition. And if you have like beads or Lego pieces or anything that they can count with some manipulative, you can have that on the side so they can do the math themselves. Really so you can really scale this thing. And then even with the dice the way they are, it's not the more advanced version. You can do rudimentary multiplication, some division if your kid is at that level.
Right.
Because it goes up to 12. So 12, and then you get, I think, 5 dice. Mm-hmm. So you could actually do some more complex math. Even in this junior edition of it. And then you can scale it all the way down to, say, a 3 or 4 or 5-year-old who's just starting to learn to count.
Yeah, I really like that about it because it is so versatile because they are just dice.
And what's great is the dice are dot dice. They're not numbered dice. So even a young learner who is just learning to count can go ahead and do that. And you can also scale how many dice you have if you want to like limit the number options. You can really scale this.
Yeah, you could really change it. The dice are nice and big too. They're really chunky. It's a good little storage bag. Yeah, the only where the place that there's actual numbers instead of dots is on the 12-sided die.
And you can bring a lot of fun into it. Like I think your counting spacers are just like almost like little discs.
Little token discs.
So, bring in a little people or action figure, a minifig or something. You can obviously spice up the game to make it exciting.
Yeah, I think it's fun. We really enjoy it. It's a very quick filler. And so we like to pull it out as a kind of a starting warm up for math, get her kind of brain flowing, play a couple of rounds of Math Dice Junior. So we wanted to tell you about it because it's a really great little educational game, super affordable and very portable.
Very portable.
Thanks so much for joining us today and making us a part of your homeschool journey. Please engage with us on social media. Join our Homeschool Together podcast group on Facebook and find us at Homeschool Together Podcast on Instagram. We'd love to hear your feedback, questions, and recommendations. Until next time,
happy homeschooling!